Sitting here with Randy Bachman. You just heard You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Classic tune.
Thanks.
What do you love about music?
The fact that around the world it's such an integral part of people's lives, whether they admit it or not. Somebody said this once, and it bears repeating. If the musicians of the world went on strike, or the songwriters, and didn't allow, just like an airplane strike, didn't allow any flights off the ground, if no music was allowed in your life, on the radio, on TV, anywhere, it would just be, it's like watching a movie with the sound off. Your life would be so empty and silent. And that music conveys so many emotions, and it's such a worldwide gathering together of people and love and feelings and stuff. You know, I hate to be corny, but it's like what John Lennon said. You know, music is the healer, and all you need is love. And if you get two armies fighting together, and they're killing each other, and you get them to stop and have them both sing, "All you need is love." Do you know what I mean? Or "Merry Christmas." Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You can declare truth just by singing a psalm. It gets rid of so many of the problems in the world, you know.
Yeah, do you think we kind of lost the aspect of that? It was all about love in the 60s, 70s?
Yeah, it was. The 60s were really quite incredible. And I'm fortunate that, you know, I was there in my early stages, like being in the Guess Who and being in those bands and coming through that and living through the Monterey Woodstock era that the guys your age only can read about. I was there, you know, and playing at a lot of them. And that was really, and I was also fortunate in 67 to go to England and see that whole thing going on there in Soho in London. All the clubs with the Stones and the Yardbirds, the formation of Cream, the formation of Hendrix were there at the time when we were there. And then to come back here and play all the pop festivals when Woodstock was going on, the Seattle Pop Festival in Monterey, I just really feel like I was really blessed to be there, not buying a ticket, but being in a band, playing on the bill and sitting backstage like we are here, sitting there with Robert Plant there and Sly from the Family Stone there, and I can Tina Turner there and Chuck Berry there. I've had an incredible ride. This has been a great life.
Was it a different atmosphere amongst musicians back then? It seemed like it was a lot more family-oriented. Everyone was kind of, you know, out there for the music. And
well, the musicians were there purely for one reason, to play. To play for the people and to play with each other. And there's great jamming going on backstage. After a while, when the tour's over and the music died down and you unplug and plug the guitar up, you look at paying the bills. And then the reality sets in, we haven't been paid properly. And so you have to look at that end of the music business. Where is my money? The manager got it all? Where did he send it? The agent got it all? The label kept it all? Where did they send it? Because we've been out there on tour for 6 months selling this record. Where's our little share of this? And so the music starts out being purely for music, but sooner or later you've got to get down to the business thing. And, like, where's my pay for doing this? And this guy's driving that and living in that house, and I'm still on the road in Holiday Inn. I don't understand this. And so you get out of that contract, and you try to be more attentive to your next contract and not get so shafted or screwed on the deal. And sooner or later, the whole music business evolved to becoming a corporate thing now. And it's so corporate that I think it's lost its soul and lost its music, but I'm kind of glad. I see that we're living through a transitional period now where it's going back to indie labels, whereas you and your brother or you and your friend will start an indie label and you get one band that you love. And you put them on that label, and you go and find other people to love that band, and that's how it grows. And that's what the 60s was. It was Jack Holtzman starting Elektra Records because he saw and liked the Doors, and nobody would sign them, so he signed the Doors. Then he signed Love. Then he signed Judy Collins. You know, then he signed a couple of other acts. And Mo Austin at Warner Brothers signing Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and Neil Young, and those kind of things. Herb Alpert having his first hit and then signing Cat Stevens just out of the passion because they liked the artist. And they never dropped the artist when the first album didn't sell. They signed the artist, a person, a guy who's going to be with their label 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 years and maybe 15 years. And that music that was done in the 60s and which bled into the 70s is what we all hold so dear today. That's what you call classic rock. Done with the passion. Done with performances in the studio. One microphone. Some of my best records were done with one mic.
No way.
Yeah, shaking all over. One microphone. Do you know what I mean? And you put that on and you still hear the excitement because we listened to 5 takes of that, even though it had mistakes. We picked one that was the best performance. And that's what you buy. You're not just buying the song, because the song is the currency of the music business. It's also, in the old days, you were buying the performance. And I know Mick Jagger, I know like a lot of these guys, they've got 3 great takes of Brown Sugar or Jumpin' Jack Flash. They pick the one with that little flub, the mistaken one, which they can't fix because it's got that extra beat, and when the maracas come in, the whole place goes wild and you want to dance. You know what I mean? That's really important. That's what came through the radio and made us buy those records. And we would watch the kids dance on American Bandstand. That's lost now. A lot of the soul is gone. Everything is just so perfect, and so it's coming back because of the indie bands. My daughter, who's 20, is in like 3 indie bands. One's with all girls, one's with a couple of guys. It's a synth band, but they go to the 70s or 80s. They zero in on that and say, we love this, and they go and try to buy all the old gear and get this sound, and they don't want to record in Pro Tools. When they recorded my studio, they didn't even use headphones. We're used to playing this way. His amp's there, I'm there. They've blown each other's brains out. You play this thing, there's nothing to mix. It's a performance. It's recorded live. They love it. All their friends love it. I think music is going back to that, going back to the performance. Things like Tonight, Every Song Tells a Story, and my jazz album are being really embraced by the people because they see me out taking chances and doing things that aren't scripted, that I'm just kind of telling stories and making them up. And when I play the jazz stuff, it's all off the top of your head, and I'm making mistakes. And it's really hard to go out and accept the fact that I'm going to go out and make mistakes. Because when you're in a classic rock band, like I have been with the Guess Who, you have to play every song like it's in people's memories. It's in. If I played Let It Rock, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet Tonight, and it's not like the record. It's too slow. It's not going to resonate within you.
That'll still be cool, though.
It'll be cool, but you know what I mean? When I hit that thing and I tell the story, you go, wow, that's the story behind You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. And I do the song, and it's the same thing as the album. You sit there, and the whole resonance is there. It's your mother's chicken soup. You know what I mean? It's the comfort food. It's the comfort music. So that's what I like about the business. I see an evolution going back to the indies who are very passionate about 1 or 2 bands, and they go and they will stay with that band for a long, long time. Whereas the big labels, if you don't, at this point, the corporate guys have a meeting, and we gave you this much money, you only sold this many records, you're gone. And you say, well, but what about the hits and the music within me, in my heart and soul, in my head, and all the living I've done that I'm putting into my new album? Sorry, too bad, go to another label. So that's it's good to see that evolution. And, everything does go in cycles.
What's the song you've written you're most proud of?
It's a song on my jazz album called Our Leaves Are Green Again that I'm most proud of. That's one of my new songs. And the songs I'm most proud of that are the older classic songs, are the ones that were, I felt, given to me by someone, the God of songs, who says, you've been trying so hard and written all these crappy things. Here's a good song. And if you're open and the song comes to you, you kind of get it and you go, wow, holy cow, incredible. And you go and play it for someone. Have you heard this? Because it's a perfect thing. And they say, no, I haven't heard it. And I played for you. Have you heard it? I guess I wrote it. I mean, that's pretty much what it's like when you write a song. You don't know, did I hear this when I was 2 or when I was 12 or when I was 20, and I'm just putting a new suit of clothes on this thing, and somebody's going to say, oh, that's a Chuck Berry song, or that's a Cat Stevens song, or that's a Neil Diamond song, or whatever. Wherever you hear it, you never know that's in your subconscious that you're writing a song. And so, Taking Care of Business, You Ain't Seen Nothing, were written that way kind of instantly on stage. And Our Leaves Are Green Again, I wrote, it's on my jazz album. It's just me singing with the piano, which I've never done because I'm really not a singer. So to write this with Stefan Macchio, who's wrote Celine's A Brand New Day, who's pretty much a pop writer, but to take him to his jazz roots and classical roots and do the song that's a very Celtic jazz piano thing, and me being kind of Van Morrison or Elvis Costello out front and just singing, it's very bare naked performance from me. So not behind, yeah. I've never done this. No, nothing.
Wow.
The whole album's jazz, except the last track is Our Leaves Are Green Again, and it's such a touching song that I can't perform it without getting verklempt and getting tears in my eyes and kind of breaking up. And when I perform it in the jazz clubs, which get pretty noisy by the last set, when I start that, to hear the silence, to see the waitresses stop with their trays like this, and the bartenders stop, and the whole place stop, like the E.F. Hutton commercial. E.F. Hutton says, invest in this, and everybody goes, what are we going to invest in? When I start this song, everybody stops and listens. When it's all done, they just go, did you write that song? We want that for our grandmother, for her anniversary. We want it for our anniversary. We want to play that our anniversary because it's about growing old and still having the passion for life and music and for a person that's close to you. Could be your mother, your father, could be your girlfriend, could be your brother, whatever. And it's Our Leaves Are Green Again. That even when it's all done, we're all going to go to this place, whatever you want to call it, all our heaven, and our leaves will be green again. And it's just, when I came upon this title, I thought, what a great way to say it's never going to end. Yeah. What we've got here is going to keep going somewhere else and keep going somewhere else, and the leaves will always, every spring, we'll always have these spring times in our life. And then autumn comes, and then you'll fall in love again. Whether it's here or in heaven, I'll meet you again, and I'll meet my granddad there who I haven't seen for all this time. Our leaves will be green again. We'll be children running around in this place, And it's like such an image. And when I was writing these lyrics down, I couldn't believe it. Stefan and I, when we were done, I looked sheepishly at him because I just met him an hour before. I look at him and I thought, man, I'm crying. This is like embarrassing. I look at him and he's got tears pouring down his face. I was approaching a birthday. I proposed to my wife again to get remarried on my birthday, which every guy ought to do because then you never forget your anniversary. It's on your birthday. So I've done this, and my birthday's approaching, and I'm agreed to like do the vows thing with my wife again. Stefan Macchio had decided at the same time that I was getting renewal of vows with my wife. He was getting married to his girlfriend of 18 years.
Wow.
I said, of 18 years? This is a high school romance? Yeah, we met in high school, and finally we're getting married. He's like 30-something now, right? And the song meant the same to him, that him and Hillary were getting married, and the same feeling they had when they were 15 and 16. Their leaves are green again. They're getting married and going on this, he's Italian, going on this tour of Italy to visit his cousins and relatives and stuff like that. Amazing. So like I said, I put this song out and people have come up to me. It's been on CBC a lot. It's not a hit record, but it's one of those things that will get played at anniversaries and graduations because you're all leaving. It's the last of your high school. But we'll meet again 30 years from now in some business. We'll cross paths and guess what? Our leaves will be green again. That's like one of my greatest songs.
Cool. Let's play it right now. It's Randy Bachman, Our Leaves Are Green, 88.3.
I was going to call it Green Again, but it was too Kermit the Frog, too green again. So I have to always put Our Leaves Are Green Again.
What's the coolest show you played?
The SARS. The SARS thing 2 years ago in Toronto with the Guess Who, with the Stones, with AC/DC. I mean, I was a fan being there just to hang out with Rush, you know what I mean, hang out with Jim Belushi and stuff. We all got a kick out of hanging out with each other. Because we watched each other over the years. I mean, like I said, in '67, I saw Mick Jagger and the Stones. That's when they had Brian Jones still with the band. And you cross paths with these guys all the time. Or you know their roadie because he was your guitar tech. And there's this cross-pollination of people in the music business. To do the SARS thing was an absolute ultimate high. For that many people to be part of the Canadian showing the world like SARS is over and we're functioning again as a province, as a city, as a country. You know, the SARS thing is gone. And to be part of that and to go on stage and to launch into the American Woman riff and just have the crowd snap to like, not attention, but snap to rock and roll attention, like, you know what I mean, like get ready and let's do this thing. And then when I did Taking Care of Business and I said clap your hands, to see almost 1 million hands as far as I could see, and I was on a 20-foot stage and I'm 6 feet tall, so my eye level's at about 26 feet high, and as far as I could see, left, right, and center was hands all clapping in time. It was absolutely amazing. Just stunning. So that was like the greatest show of all time. It's the best run show I've ever been to. The logistics of it, getting the people there, getting the bands there, having the security, have nothing go wrong. It was just amazing. It was an amazing feat by Riley O'Connor and House of Blues, the Toronto Police, the Ontario Provincial Police, the Toronto Transit, who got everybody there. It was like Woodstock run by the Swiss. Because Woodstock basically was a disaster. This was absolutely perfect. The weather, there was one idiot who got arrested, who was a drunk American, on the day of the show who caused some, nothing to do with the concert, but he was there for it. So basically you could say it was without incident. It was just a phenomenal show.
Yeah. The first one, you didn't play at it. Were you there, though?
No, we passed on going.
Why?
We had played the Seattle Pop Festival, which was 3 days of glorious. You named the band. Like I said, Sly and the Family Stone, Burrito Brothers, The Byrds, Ike and Tina Turner, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, Led Zeppelin, 10 Years After, The Doors.
The Who's Who of rock.
Oh, yes. I've got the poster. It's stunning. It's a Beautiful Day, Chick Corea, Sun Ra. I mean, it was a mixture of jazz and all this kind of stuff. You know, Richie Havens. I mean, on and on. And basically it was a great Woodstock. 3 days of sunshine. The Guess Who played all 3 days. We left there, went to Chicago to record the American Woman album. In the middle of the week, we're setting up recording the American Woman album. I get a phone call. There's another pop festival in Bethel, New York. It's outside of Woodstock. We had already seen on the air. Woodstock had started. Didn't have enough toilets. Something went on with the traffic. The cars were backed up. It was raining. It was a mess. It was a wreck. You can't get in there because the roads are blocked. We're flying everyone on helicopter. I said, I don't want to go in a helicopter. Too many rock stars get killed on motorcycles and helicopters. By the way, we're recording our American Woman album, so why would we go and want to play this disaster where there's not enough food or water and breaking down the fences and all this stuff? So basically he said, no, we pass on Woodstock. One of those crossroads. Oh, yeah, it would have been nice to be in Woodstock but if we had, maybe we wouldn't have recorded American Woman and had it sound like it sounded at that moment in time and come out and be a #1 record and change all our lives again. So it's one of those crossroads. Like people said, what if you never left the Guess Who? And they would have had Taken Care of Business and You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. They never would have had it. That was me singing by accident and making up songs on stage with different guys by accident that became hit records. And these are two of the greatest accidents in my life, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet and TCB. They really are. And when I tell the story tonight, you'll see that. Purely accidental things. But I had to be there at that time with those people for the accidents to happen. That's what they call fate or destiny or good fortune or serendipity or happenstance or whatever the word is. You got to be there at that moment. So it would have been nice to be immortalized in Woodstock, but maybe we wouldn't have had American Woman.
Yeah, I heard you wrote that, Schichter.
Yeah, curling rink.
One day.
I read that you said 20 more years you could put on the road, and you wouldn't have a problem with it.
I wouldn't. I recently lost 150 pounds. I'm really in shape. I work out an hour to 2 hours every day. And when I'm home too long, I get the itch to go out. It becomes a drug after a while, right? It's no fun playing at home for yourself or in your own studio. You got to go out and have some reaction. I really love doing what I'm doing tonight. I'm sitting telling the stories behind the hits for the Guess Who and BTO. And to see the people's faces, it's like telling little kids bedtime story around the campfire, and it gets spooky, and you see them huddle up, you know what I mean? Or they're going to bed, and their eyes are watching because you're telling them about finding a treasure or flying. It's a Peter Pan story. But to see the faces of the audience, they don't know what story I'm telling. I was walking in San Francisco, and this biker gang came around the corner, and blah, 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 and this happened. And they're sitting there, and suddenly I go, bada bing, and then she said, you ain't getting no sugar tonight. And then I start the song, and they go, wow. So they're taken on a musical ride. They know the songs. They're kind of the soundtrack to your life if you're Canadian. But to hear the stories, the people have really been liking it. So I kind of I really like doing it. And with the jazz record that you have there, I'll put out another one, and I'm thrilled if I get asked to play a jazz festival here, there, or anywhere. The band alters slightly. You get a different keyboard player in the band. But it's still me and basically my drummer and bass player, and I like to go out and do these songs because they're totally different. But in the jazz set, near the end, inevitably, I do Blue Collar and Looking Out for Number One, which were my jazz, and I'm Done, which were my jazz songs in the other bands. But this is quite a pure jazz album. But near the end, when they get a second or third encore, I just say, here's a jazz shuffle of Taking Care of Business, and they love it. I still give them the hit, you know.
Do you think people want that when they see you live? They want to hear the hits?
They're yelling for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind?
But when they came for the jazz thing, they really wanted the jazz, and I really did it. And I do a front end solo, about 10, 12 minutes, just alone me noodling around jazz guitar to show people I really can play. Yeah, I've been practicing 2 hours a day for 35 years for nothing. I can play some pretty hot licks, but you don't get to see it. When I'm doing classic rock, you want everything to sound exactly like the record. So I kind of painted myself into a corner with all these hits. But getting out of the corner is doing this jazz thing. I start the song and do any solo I want. It doesn't matter. And it's a total freedom to find as an artist. Because you've got to believe the last 4 years playing with the Guess Who has been very painted into a corner. Doing 32 hit songs, and everyone has to sound like the record. I would live for the end of Glamour Boy or the beginning of American Woman, where there's a little jam where I can play as many riffs and licks as I want, and then we get back to the song.
I have 20 quick names. Just name one-word answer when I say it.
Okay.
Cool. Burton Cummings.
Dear old friend. You want one-word answers?
One-word answer. First thing that comes to your mind. Just quick ones.
Okay.
Jimmy Page.
2 words. Guitar God.
Pete Townsend.
Great songwriter.
John Lennon.
A wonderful spirit.
Paul McCartney.
Another wonderful spirit. I put him right up there. Obviously, I'm a Lennon-McCartney fan, and both of them were what they did for me and the rest of the world. With their songs, songwriting and performances, you can't put that into words. So,
Buddy Holly.
One of my earliest inspirations.
C.F. Turner.
Really good teenage friend, and maybe he and I'll do something together in the future. Who knows?
Oh, there we go. Neil Young.
A really dear friend. We cross paths every couple of years, and it's very enjoyable for both of us. We feel like long-lost brothers.
Van Morrison.
Oh, a true inspiration. Back in the 60s, I gave Van Morrison a guitar when he was broken down and lost his guitar and luggage. We were doing a TV show together. I just saw him perform last May in England at the Hampton Court Palace outdoors. It was staggering. It was phenomenal. He came out and played sax. He did jazz for the first half hour and played saxophone with a big band. It was just cool. And then he launched into Gloria and Brown Eyed Girl and stuff, and took everybody for a great musical ride. He's great.
Jim Morrison.
I was never a Jim Morrison fan. Burton Cummings was a Jim Morrison fan. I never really got the doors of Jim Morrison. To me, he wasn't that cool a singer. I like some of the songs, but I don't think I went out and bought a Doors album. But I do absolutely love Light My Fire. One of the greatest songs, the beginning, the turn around the chorus. So, I like this stuff, but like I said, I wouldn't go out and buy his box set.
Bob Dylan.
A great inspiration to me of a non-singer who sings, because I'm a non-singer who sings. And so is Neil Young, and that kind of thing. So it's just like, screw everybody. I'm doing this song, and it's going to be pitchy and sharp and flat, but, I'm doing this song. It's like a Randy Newman thing. There's certain guys out there that I really like and admire for their bravado, which I've had to take on, because I'm not really a Burton Cummings style of great singer that hits every note on pitch. I'm more of a performance guy because I wrote the song. So I look at it like I am a Leonard Cohen, Elvis Costello, that kind of thing, Bob Dylan kind of thing.
Eric Clapton.
An icon. I can't say anything more about him. He's a great singer, songwriter. I liked his early guitar playing better when he was into the Gibsons. The Fenders would sound too thin for me.
Okay.
I like the old Wheels of Fire, Cream thing. You know, I Feel Free, like those kind of songs.
Yeah.
You know, Sunshine of Your Love and stuff.
George Harrison.
A truly great guitar player, and like I said, he's up there with Lennon and McCartney. He's one of the greats, one of the Beatles. Very inspirational to me as a songwriter and guitar player.
Jimi Hendrix.
Complete astral from outer space maniac on guitar, who I thought was really phenomenal. To take the tools he had, a Stratocaster, a wah-wah, some weird little fuzz thing, and a Marshall amp, and do the music he did was quite incredible, because everyone had those tools. This guy just built a whole new tower that we're all still trying to climb to this day.
Keith Richards.
Oh, a truly great character and a really great songwriter, rhythm guitar player. He basically, I think, is the heart and soul of the Stones. When he launches into that rhythm guitar, I think I've seen the Stones many, many times live. He's just that anchor kind of thing, him and Charlie Watts. Without either of them, it's pretty much ain't the Stones.
Brian Wilson.
A wonderful songwriter. A tragic story. Wonderful songwriter.
Well, he's back now.
Yeah, but still, if you saw him live, don't believe all the hype.
Bono.
A truly great, wonderful guy. What he's done leading the band, if he is leading the band, or if they're led as a democracy, whatever, you got to give him credit. They're probably the best band in the world. They're still together. They're still with the same manager. They're still with the same label. All those things I talked about before, the getting scammed and screwed out, that hasn't happened to them. They obviously are getting what they deserve, so they're still there creating music. And they continue to astound and amaze me with their records. There might be the odd little valley, the odd little disappointment, and then suddenly they come back with, wow, they're back. That's a great riff. I can't believe that's you too. And that's what music is all about. I've certainly had the valleys. Because life is not a plateau. There's hills and valleys, so I've got to go there, warm it up to that.
Just Randy Bachman.
I've known him all my life, and he's kind of like a brother to me. What can I say?